Previously I found some leaks coming from the engine. I know that one of them is coming from the sump plug itself, so I emptied the oil out and put some tape around the plug and then put it back in for a better seal. I've also now put in fresh oil as well, and I'll have to keep searching where the next leak is coming from. I've really been struggling with this back vinyl here. I get these creases and I just can't seem to get them out. I'm going to have to consult a professional that does this to fix this problem, so I'll come back to this later. This Clarion speaker was commonly installed on the back shelf of a later Series 3. This Sony speaker I found online and it will also fit in the same position with a few modifications. What I have here is the mount and grille that was used on the Series 3. This is the speaker I'll be using, and this is the one that actually came with the car. Because I'm using an original plate and grille, I wanted it to fit inside the plate, and it does. I'm sanding back the corrosion off the plate and then marking out the hole that I'm going to cut. I'm first cutting the vinyl out and then using a hole saw to make a bigger hole. Then using my Dremel here just to smooth everything out and making sure that the speaker fits the hole well. With the plate on the back, I could then mark it out for the actual screw holes and then also cut out the holes on the plate for the speaker. Then just to make sure everything fits. And now with the plate on the back, I can screw the speaker into its position. The original speaker grille for the Sony fits here, but it won't fit my original grille, so I'm going to have to make a modification and cut that piece off. So with some tin snips, I just trimmed it off. There were 6 screws that hold in the original grille, but I'm only using 4, the 2 center ones were used to hold in the original speaker. I then put it in place and connected up the speaker wires, and just manipulating it back and forth so it pops in place. And for some unknown reason, the wrinkles in the middle here have now disappeared. I am still not happy with this result, so I will get someone to look at this later. I'm sawing the top of some screws off here so they'll match the rest of them. I'll just use a glue gun and put it in place like this. This lighter was used on a Series 1 and this one on other series. They look very different from each other and different lengths as well. The base on the right is quite long and for the Series 1. The one on the left is for all other series. You can see how it's more stubby than the actual Series 1. The lighter is a 4-piece unit, and this is the light. The light illuminates the amber ring. I'm installing this unit on the bench here, and it's a lot easier than inside the car. I'm just threading it through the hole here first. And now for the base on top. Then this screw ring just goes over the cable and screws everything in place. It's a lot harder to do in the car. This piece here holds the switch in place. It has to be in this orientation. The larger lugs at the bottom. It also has 2 clips at the top and the bottom which holds the switch in place. And now to install this small rectangular blanking plate. They're getting quite hard to find now, undamaged. The ashtray holder has 2 clips which hold it in place. It goes in this orientation. And now just to install the ashtray itself. This small clear plastic piece was already in place. I didn't take it out originally. I don't like to remove them because they tend to crack and break if you do. You can see how it sits in place there. You could pop it out and the fibre optic cable just attaches to there. What I have here are 2 fibre optic looms. The one on the left is for a Series 1 and this is Series 1.5 and 2. The Series 1 has a clear plastic piece at the end, where the other one just has a white piece of plastic at the end which goes into the switch. This is the bit at the top which connects onto the top plastic piece. You see this is quite brittle if you push it, but if you twist it, it comes off quite easily. When you put it back on, just twist it back on and that will avoid breaking that connector there. This lug is to cover a hole on the armrest. It's silver in colour on a Series 1 and this one's obviously breaking apart. After sanding it back, I used some silver tape and then pressed it into place. I cut off the excess tape and then used a heat gun to shrink it on. So this is what it looks like on. I'm not 100% happy with the corners here, so I might come back to this with another solution. These type of screws are used all over the car, but this is 17.3mm long and is used on the cover plate that covers the accelerator rod. It covers the rod like this, so you don't accidentally press it with your other foot. They tend to be brittle and break, but this one is in good shape. The same handbrake mechanism was used on all series, but on the Series 1 it used this boot which just went over the top like this. The later series used this plate and it went over the top like this. The purpose of the plate is to hold the rubber boot in place. This is the switch that triggers the handbrake light. You'll notice it's got a straight lug on it. You can get aftermarket ones with an angle or straight. The bolts that hold the bracket to the car are these ones here. They have a 5 on the back, and you'll notice that they're also got a spring washer which doesn't actually come off. It measures at about 13.6 and the length of the bolt is around about 25.6. The washer used is quite thick at about 17 with a thickness of around about 2. And here I am just greasing up the ratchet part of the mechanism. I'm going to install this insulation but the same way the factory did. I'd then just cut out all the appropriate holes. Installing the rubber plug that goes on the top part, inserting the clip that holds the handbrake to the rod. Now to attach the handbrake switch, then tighten the bolts onto the car. I've taken the backing off the insulation and now putting it in place. Then using a roller to stick it all down. Now to cut a hole for the safety belt, then a few more strips of insulation here. I'm using a piece of original insulation to cut it into the right shape, and then once again roll it down onto the floor. I didn't like how this part was missing, so I just added a piece on. Then just cut a hole for drainage. Under the driver's seat there's a piece of insulation missing, so I just cut some in the same shape that was missing and put it in place. Now to tap on some trimming that goes around the spare tyre well that holds the vinyl in place. But next time, I install some rubber and I clean some carpet.